Hello everyone, I'm here today with a flip-through video, and this is from my combination album. In here is my trip home to Colorado in January, and then a trip to Milwaukee in March, and probably a trip that I took that was only 2 days up to International Falls with a friend of mine. So hopefully it will all fit in here. And I did not do any of my Colorado layouts on camera because the whole reason for that trip was to go home to see a friend of mine who had stage 4 cancer. So he was dying, knew that he had limited time, and there was a celebration of life party that he wanted to have before he passed. So I went home for that, and it was a very difficult time. And generally when I do travel albums like this, it's for a happy reason. But sometimes travel isn't for a happy reason. It's because it's a sad reason or a very just difficult reason for any number of aspects that could happen. So if you've been holding on to something to scrap because it's been difficult and it's travel related, but maybe not your usual travel stuff, this is for you. So I don't plan to say a lot about what I did here. It's more just to show what I did, but really I had mixed feelings about doing any of the layouts on camera while I was doing them, and then also about a flip through. But I finally came to the decision that, scrapping is therapeutic. At least it is for me. I hope it is for others of you out there. And when you're struggling with something, it can be helpful to go through it. Now, I've also been working on a Chicago album with my best friend who passed away. These two actually passed away within 2 weeks of each other. Scott was expected. We knew that was coming. My best friend Becky, that was not. It was completely out of the blue. I had no idea. And so it feels different to me in a way because at least with Scott, I could mentally prepare myself that I knew that was happening, made the effort to see him, and I'm so glad that I did. The other, not so much. So they're very different albums. So I don't know that I'll end up doing a flip through of that one, but for this one, it almost felt cathartic to go through this and have this done. And it is a 6x8 album, but there are, as you can see, kind of some inserts here that are different sizes. So this is a 3x8. It's got a flip. And this one, I didn't do like anything super spectacular, again, because it was more about the emotion of being there and those kinds of things. And it's always kind of hard for me when I go home to Colorado for any reason, because I feel like, yep, I'm doing fine. I've lived in Minnesota, so long now. It's fine. It doesn't bother me. That's a lie. It does bother me. Every time I go home, I'm there, but it's like I'm homesick at the same time because I realize, I remember stuff of what it was like to live there and growing up there. It's just weird. It's weird. So if any of you live out of state and you travel home, do you get that feeling when you go home, no matter the reason? It still seems to happen to me, and I'm almost 50. So, I've just accepted it's going to be that way my whole life, probably. This was just from, we stopped to eat somewhere on our way down, because I started in Denver, and then I'm actually from Pueblo, so that's like a 2-hour drive south of Denver. So I stayed with a friend in Denver, and then she also knew him, and so we went down to Pueblo together. So we had an Airbnb down there. We stayed there. And it was kind of an unusual Airbnb, like the layout was a little weird, so I wanted to make sure I put that in there. And then this is my friend. So we had a dinner together, just the two of us, the night before the party, which was awesome. So I feel kind of spoiled in a way that I got personal time with him before the party, where then I had to share him with everybody. So, and this was his request. He had been craving this. Didn't have a lot of appetite, so of course I said, sure, let's go there. So we went, and then there's some hidden journaling back here, so if you pulled that, it would come out, but that's pretty much just for me, so I'm not going to take that out. And then before the party was in the afternoon the next day, and so before that, my friend and I just went out walking in the neighborhood. And I didn't live in this area of town where the Airbnb was, so I'm not as familiar with it. So it's kind of fun to walk around a neighborhood that I didn't know as well, and certainly has changed over the years since I've moved away. So that was very interesting. Then it was time for the party, and it was downtown at our old Union Depot train station, and they still had Christmas decorations up. This was January 8th, so they still had Christmas decorations up, and so I thought, well, you know what? Might as well showcase something kind of fun. And that brings joy to a lot of people. I'm not a huge Christmas person, but, it is fun to see some decorations. So I included those. And this is our last picture together. So of course I had to blow that up and really showcase that. And then I also stopped by my old high school because they're building a completely new one. So it's kind of weird to see my old building here about ready to be torn down as soon as this new one goes up. And then I took the train both ways, and so this was at Union Station in Denver. My train was very late. It was scheduled to leave at about 7 p.m. It left at midnight, so I had lots of extra time to have a super long dinner and just kind of gather my thoughts, gather myself before getting on the train and heading home. And actually, it's a very good thing I ended up taking the train, because flying, I think, just emotionally would have been too hard. Like, oh, I get on a plane and 2.5 hours later I'm home again. Like, that just was not going to be a good thing mentally for me. So it helped to have kind of this 12-hour journey, or more, whatever it ended up being, to sort of get my thoughts together, have private time. I had a private sleeping car, so I was by myself. It was quiet. I could just keep to myself and sort of get myself ready to be back into the real world, the rest of my world. And I actually woke up to a gorgeous sunrise, and I so needed that just for my mental state. So I wrote a little bit about that, and then I had breakfast in the dining car, and I got lucky that I was able to sit alone. I really did not feel in the mood to converse with other people, and generally you have to sit with other people on an Amtrak car in the dining car, but I purposely waited till last call so I could get in and hopefully sit by myself, and it worked. So I didn't have to share my table with anyone. And then these are just some more views. I stared out the window a lot, as you can imagine. We had a pit stop at a different station, and then you can kind of see that I'm just packing up and getting ready to detrain as I came closer to my station. And then at the very end, I actually included some text messages between my friend and I after I got back, over the next about week and a half until he passed away. So I wanted to make sure that I included those because they were good conversations. And then I just included a picture of us when we went to the U2 concert in Seattle for the 30th anniversary of the Joshua Tree concert, because we are U2 fanatics. And I thought that was a great way to kind of end that section, because that's a memory that I'll have forever. And he looks good there. He wasn't sick. He was well then. So great way to end that album. And then Milwaukee starts here. So I hope you enjoyed seeing that flip through. I hope it encourages you to at least try to maybe scrap something that's been difficult for you. It is hard, but in the end, it's worth it, and you'll have something that's a memory for a lifetime. Thanks for watching.